In the news today, pottery is no more at Canadore. A local hero shows off his tricks, and the Whitewater Gallery is raising funds by destroying walls. Good afternoon, I'm Jake Bean, and this is Canadore Newsnet. In our top story, like many other courses at Canadore, the school's pottery class has been canceled. Newsnet's Josh Huard visited the class to learn more about the cancellation, when it can be expected, and when students can get their last chance to sculpt.
It was a dusty display of art as we made our way around the pottery room off the D wing at Canadore College. Many students were enjoying their time sculpting and polishing off their creations. We got an interview with a happy student named Mary LaHaye, and she told us about her love of pottery and the situation with the school.
I came to pottery. I was terrible when I started, just horrible. Keith Campbell was my teacher, and he never let me give up, and I haven't, and I love it, love it, love it. Now, I come here as often as I can. I have a kiln at home now, and I have wheels at home. And according to my daughter, I talk about pottery too much.
Unfortunately, she filled us in on some bad news about the pottery program.
The classes ended here in the fall. They weren't offered anymore. So Keith was able to make an arrangement with Canadore to rent the space, and we bought class from him, but in March that'll be over too, so there is nowhere in North Bay where a potter can go to pot.
The classes are offered every Tuesday and run from 1 till 4 p.m. There is also a night class that runs from 6 till 10. The cost for the course is $300 and includes everything you need to be a potter. If you're interested in getting into the last class that will be offered at Canadore, you can get a hold of Keith at keithcampbell@canadorecollege.on.ca. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Josh Huard.
Now we go to Mike Ball out by the pond for an update on the weather. It seems like winter has finally shown up. Can we expect more cold weather, or can we still hope for a little bit of warmth?
Thanks, Jake. Well, the snow is staying with us and it won't be leaving anytime soon. Let's take a look at our short-term weather forecast. Tonight will be cloudy with flurries and a low of -16, and heading in tomorrow will be cloudy with light snow and a low of -12. You may want to wear your hat when you leave your home today. Back to you, Jake.
A Canadore student and her incredibly smart dog appeared on one of TV's most popular late-night shows the other week. Sarah Carson and her dog Hero were invited to the Late Show with David Letterman to perform a surprisingly and seemingly impossible trick. Our own Andrew Hockridge met up with Hero to see some of his tricks firsthand.
Paws were literally up in the air when a North Bay dog trainer found out she was going to New York to appear on national television. Canadore College graphic design student Sarah Carson and her 14-month-old border collie named Hero paid a special visit to David Letterman last week. Hero competed in a segment called Stupid Pet Tricks, but what Hero did was far from stupid. In fact, more amazing.
When we first arrived, it was late, so we just got to see all the lights, and our first experience was going to Central Park, and well, it was pitch black, but you could just tell how beautiful it was. I've been in New York before, so it wasn't like this huge, oh my gosh, I'm in New York City, but it was at the same time. Hero was probably, he enjoyed it a lot because he really likes attention. But yeah, the whole experience overall was amazing.
Hero was blowing bubbles on command, and Sarah explains how she taught him to do this trick.
There was a dog on 2010 that blew bubbles in a bowl of water. And I was like, okay, well, that's a start. So I started just going on YouTube and typing in different things, and I didn't find a dog that blew bubbles through a bubble wand. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just impossible. so we just started, like, I don't know, experimenting, I guess you'd say, on different ways for him to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, he can bark on command. So I changed his speak to bubbles. So when you say bubbles, he'll bark. And then I got my grandpa to create a bubble wand made out of chopsticks and a margarine container lid. And we just kind of had to experiment with the circle a bit to make it work. But yeah, that's how it worked, yeah.
When it comes to other tricks, Sarah says Hero absorbs all new techniques with ease.
He just recently mastered, well, I wouldn't say mastered, but he got his handstand off the wall, and that took maybe 4 months, and it took my Cocker Spaniel a year. So he learns pretty fast.
For Cogeco North Bay News, I'm Andrew Hockridge.
The Whitewater Gallery is inviting the public to come make their mark in whatever creative, artistic, or fun way possible, including doodling on the gallery walls. Newsnet reporter Mandy Richard got her chance to graffiti on her own town business.
Couple of weeks, the Whitewater Gallery is hosting an event that will bring people's artistic ways to life. Make Your Own Mark is an interactive fundraiser for people to graffiti the walls of the gallery. Robin Pollex, the administrative director, explains that everyone is welcomed and the importance of the event.
It's open to everyone, from little kids to older people, and it's really to sort of have a presence within the community.
They encourage people to be as creative, artistic, and political as they wish. Putting your own mark on others' work is an option as well.
Use anything that you like. Spray paint is a bit of an issue, but we will open the door. And it's to be able to graffiti on the walls. It's political. It can be artistic. It's whatever you choose. And it's really just about bringing everyone together. If there's something you don't like on the wall, you can change it. If there's something you do like, you can make your mark and say that you do.
Another great and creative way to fundraise. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Mandy Richard.
The Best Western of North Bay held their annual Bridal Expo last week. North Bay Newsnet reporter Saidia Zaloski was able to enjoy the event despite not actually being a bride-to-be.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Future brides gathered at the Best Western to see a wedding showcase. A wedding comes with a lot of planning, which is exactly why Andrew Arksky enjoys hosting the event.
I'm sure you've seen and heard a lot of brides do get pretty crazy about with their wedding stuff, but it's always a fun process of getting together and showcasing what we have to offer and bringing all their guests in, and they get to see it as well, so hopefully they come back and can be return business as well.
This is the second one-stop event, and local businesses are quite happy with the opportunity. Frontman Gilles Gertin expressed how important this event is.
I think it's very important that anybody that's planning to have a wedding, that they do come to these shows, okay? Because it gives them the opportunity to meet with all the event people, like, you know, your limousine people, your cake people, your bridal gowns and all this kind of stuff, and they're all here together.
From catering to DJs or even picking out that special dress, One Stop gives these businesses a chance to showcase whatever they think a bride will need. If wedding bells are in your future and you don't want to be a bridezilla, One Stop Wedding helps you plan your special day. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Saidia Zaloski.
It is now well known that the Wall doesn't have a use of its liquor license at this time. We took to the streets to find a student's opinion on whether or not the Wall would do well only serving food.
Definitely not. And that's because the students all frequent there. That's like the closest place for people in res to go and party. So if there's no alcohol, there's no partying, which really defeats the purpose for a lot of the students at Nipissing and Canadore. And a lot of people from Nipissing and Canadore also come from down here to go and party up there, so it would lose out on a lot of business.
They promoted the dinners more and the food more rather than just the alcohol. I think they'd have a better chance of kind of being successful.
Because they do have good food there. Like, we were there the other day, it was good. But they only promote like the nightlife, so you never know that it would be there without the alcohol. So I don't think so. They'd have to do a lot of work to improve that.
Yeah, I think so. The food's really good, so they probably do pretty well.
It's National Collection Week for Operation Christmas Child. Shoebox-sized boxes are being filled with toys, candy, hygiene items, and school supplies that are sent overseas to needy children. Mariska Siritan visited North Bay from Tobago last year, and Steph Burt-Hillyard caught up with her to share her story about receiving the boxes as a child.
Mariska Siritan lives in Tobago. She doesn't remember the first time she received a shoebox, but her nostalgia was clear as her eyes became livid lit glassy, a mix between excitement and quiet reflection of part of her life coming full circle. Seeing the familiar red and green boxes piled up, she questioned what the boxes were all about, recognizing them as similar boxes she had received as a child and adolescent. "You wouldn't believe how those boxes made me happy," she said. "I know the red and green boxes. They'd have them in big garbage bags. They'd group us in age, then they'd put our name on the box and give it to us." She also remembers her favorite part of the boxes being the sweets and school supplies that people included. Operation Christmas Child was started 22 years ago. Student groups, churches, and individuals are all encouraged to pack shoeboxes to be sent to children overseas who may not have much of a Christmas otherwise. Items such as small toys, school supplies, and hygiene items can be purchased and packed in shoebox-sized boxes and delivered to various churches in the area, as well as the KFM studio on Algonquin Ave. Shoeboxes are delivered regardless of race, religion, and age. Participants also have an online option now, as they can virtually pack and send a shoebox at SamaritansPurse.ca. Last year, nearly 700,000 boxes were collected across Canada. This year, Canadian boxes will mostly be sent south of the border to countries like Haiti, Costa Rica, and Venezuela. 2012 will also mark Operation Christmas Child's 100 millionth shoebox. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Steph Burt-Hillyard.
Coming up after the break, Mike Ball will have our long-range forecast as well as temperatures for the rest of the country. Now it's time to go to Mike Ball for a look at our long-range and national forecast. So, Mike, how much snow are we going to get today?
Thanks, Jake. Well, the snow will definitely stick with us for this week at least, but temperatures will be warming up into next week. Let's look at our Canada-wide map. So starting out in Vancouver, we have temperatures hovering around 6 degrees with partial cloudiness, and rain is expected to hit this area this week. Heading into Edmonton, it's -14 with flurries, and the snow will be hitting that area as well. Heading into Regina, the temperature is at -9 with partial cloudiness and sun. Into Toronto, it's a little bit more milder. It's at 3 degrees right now, and temperatures are supposed to stay around this area for the next week or so. Heading into St. John's, it's supposed to be a high of +1, and it's going to be scattered flurries. Along with Halifax, it'll be at 2 with a mix of rain and snow. So let's look at our northeastern Ontario map. So the majority of northeastern Ontario will be getting some type of snow this week, at least partial cloudiness. Starting out in the Sioux, it'll be -4 with scattered flurries, and those scattered flurries will continue throughout the week. Sudbury, it'll be -6, and it is mainly sunny right now, only one of the few areas in Ontario that is sunny this week. Heading into Timmins, it's -12. It's one of the colder areas of Ontario today, and there is partial cloudiness. And along with North Bay, there is partial cloudiness as well, and the temperatures are hovering around -3 right now. So let's look at our 5-day weather forecast. So starting off today, it's going to be 1 degrees, and it's going to be a low of -6 with partial cloudiness. Thursday, we are going to have a mix of sun and flurries. It'll be a high of 2 and a low of -12. Heading into Friday, it'll be sunshine all around with a high of -7 and a low of -11. Saturday will be cloudy with a high of -3 and a low of -7. And Sunday will be rainy with a high of -1 and a low of -7. So Jake, the snow will stick around for this week, and we might get some rain, but it will be a little bit milder heading into next week. So back to you.
Thanks a lot, Mike. After the break, Andrew has some battalion news as well as some Trappers highlights from earlier this week. I'm here with Andrew Hockridge for Newsnet Sports. So how are you today, Andrew?
I'm good, thank you, Jake.
So some big news tonight. We have some Trappers highlights, and the OHL is actually confirmed to come to North Bay as the battalion.
That is correct, Jake. The OHL is returning to North Bay for the next hockey season in the new year. And yes, North Bay fans are really excited. The Brampton Battalion made a visit to Sudbury recently, and North Bay fans were on hand to get a taste of the hockey team that will soon be coming to them. As Kyle Mywaart reports, fans were excited to see the team that will be moving to the city.
Hockey fans flocked to the Sudbury Arena on Wednesday night, but not all of them were chanting "Go Wolves." The visiting Brampton Battalion saw a strong fan turnout as North Bay hockey fans made the trip to Sudbury to cheer on the team that may soon be theirs. The announcement was recently made that the battalion would be moving to North Bay if enough community support was shown. Responsible for selling 2,000 season tickets on a 3-year commitment, North Bay blew spectators out of the water when they reached that milestone in less than a week. Canadore College President George Burton made the trip to Sudbury with nearly 300 fans to watch the battalion play, and he says that having local fans on hand was key to showing the city's support for the move.
Fantastic. It brings an energy in the stands in our section, as you can tell, looking to bring that same energy into the city at every home game. And we see the season ticket base just growing over the next few weeks. And look, North Bay is a hockey town. It can support hockey at several levels. This is just one more level of entertainment that we'll have in the city. We think it's a win-win for everybody.
The fans who were there to witness the battalion triumph over the Wolves were electric, shouting their support throughout all 3 periods. With a final score of 4-2 for the battalion, head coach Stan Butler said his players were nervous initially, but felt comfortable with the support from fans as the game wore on.
Well, I mean, we're really excited about it. I mean, the city's embraced us already. You can see that tonight, and I think that's very important in the junior hockey community. And it's a new area and stuff like that, but it'd just be a new experience for the same group of guys.
Triumphing over the Sudbury Wolves with a score of 4-2, tonight marked not only a victory for the Brampton Battalion, but also for North Bay fans who one day soon will call this team their own. For Canadore Newsnet, I'm Kyle Mywaart.
On Friday, the Sudbury-North Bay rivalry continued as the Nickel Barons visited the Trappers. Pick it up in the first period, Corbin Bean passes to Dwayne Wayman, who tips it past goalie Alex Leno, 1-0 Trappers. Still in the first period, nice passing played by Bean, feeds Graham Pickard, who finds the mesh and makes it 2-0 Trappers. To the second period we go, score 4-0, when Cole Klippenstein will unleash a bomb from the point, his 7th of the season, makes it 5-0 Trappers. And the rout continues, and as Bean is fed all alone, beats Leno, making it 6-0 as the Trappers add another in the third to win by a margin of 7-0. Moving from the ice to the NBA action saw James Harden scored 24 points and matched a career high with 12 assists as Patrick Patterson added 22 points and the Houston Rockets beat the Toronto Raptors 117-101. The Phoenix Suns took control late in the third quarter to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 91-78. The Suns scored the final 14 points of the third to take a 71-59 lead. They would not relinquish. Evan Turner scored 22 points and Thaddeus Young had 20 to lead the Philadelphia 76ers to a 198 win over the Dallas Mavericks. Jrue Holiday had 18 points and 7 assists for the Sixers, who snapped a 6-game losing streak. Kevin Love had 23 points and an NBA season-high 24 rebounds to lead the Minnesota Timberwolves over Sacramento to 97-89. George Hill's high-arching shot over Dwight Howard went in with 1/10 of a second remaining, and the Indiana Pacers withstood Kobe Bryant's 40-point performance to beat the Los Angeles Lakers 79-77. Moving on to the OHL, the London Knights held on for a win over the Kitchener Rangers as Chris Tynery had a 3-point night. Dominic Algebra scored the lone goal for Rangers. And the Peterborough Petes lost to the Oshawa Generals 3-2. The Petes found themselves down a pair of goals just 3:16 into the contest after the visitors put 2 quick goals on the scoreboard. With the holiday season quickly approaching, it's time to think of a cool gift for the sports fan in the family, which brings us to today's trivia question. Which 1977 hockey film featured the Hanson brothers? Jake, would you care to answer this question?
Well, I almost had a slip of tongue and said the Mighty Ducks, but I know that's not right. That is the classic film Slapshot.
That is correct, Jake. The 1977 film featured Steve and Jeff Carlson and David Hanson. And even though The Mighty Ducks was a good film, Slapshot was named one of the top 10 sport movies of the last century.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was actually someone named Hanson. That's interesting. When we come back, Anthony Kellner has a chance to sit down with head coach Leo Bouchard and talk about the new varsity basketball team at Canadore College.
Welcome back from the break. I'm sitting here with Panthers basketball head coach Leo Bouchard. Leo, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
It's really appreciated to have someone of the Canadore's greats come over.
Pleasure being here.
So basically, I'll start with the first question. What is basketball, the game of basketball, to you?
Well, I've come from, my background certainly is in basketball. I mean, I've coached for a number of years in basketball, but my background was hockey. And it kind of fell into my lap when I was assistant athletic director at Northern College in Kirkland, and it grew from there, and my love and passion for the game has continued to grow from there, and it was just a pleasure to be asked by Linda Turcotte to help develop the program at Canada.
Yeah, so about that, when you were told that the Canadore club team was going to become varsity, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, it was great because, like I said, as a rival coach, it was always a pleasure to come down and play in North Bay. And when I moved here in 2005 after I retired, Linda and I spoke, and I said, if you ever wanted an older coach who still had the fire and passion for the game, to help out, let me know. And on the way out the door, I happened to have said, if you want somebody with my experience to coach, I'd be glad to help that as well. So it certainly was never my intent to be the head coach right off the bat. It was a pleasure to be asked. This is a growing game at Canadore, and I see my role changing in the future, and I certainly want the program to grow and be effective and competitive like it used to be in years past.
No, when you say your role's changing in the future, what do you mean by that? Like,
well, hey, I don't have snow on the roof because I'm young. I am getting older, and after this year, my wife and I, my family and I, will have to discuss what role I will continue playing with the Panthers. And be it, we haven't even, this is the bombshell that I'm dropping on people here, because I don't know whether I'm going to continue coaching or not. I took on a job for a 2-year stint, and after this year, we will make a decision. And the first year was spent recruiting, the second year is coaching this inaugural team, and we'll go from there, yeah.
Do you think having your team grow, and do you think by the end of the season, if you guys get some wins in and stuff, will that change your mind kind of to go towards?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you right now, I can, like Mark Messier did with the New York Rangers, I can guarantee you we're not going to be 0-20. They're too good for that.
Yeah.
And in the last, anyone who's come to see our home games will attest to the fact that they're good when they want to play. We just need to cut down on our turnovers, cut down on our fouls, take better shots, and play as a unit and on defense, because we can play with anybody. And Mohawk College was a test of that, losing to the Canadian champs by 9 points with 3-4 minutes left in the game. I think is quite a feather in the hair in this young team's hat. That's for sure.
Yeah. During a game, do you think having your dominant player, do you think is more of like a point guard or a center?
First of all, I don't necessarily like to believe that we're not at such a high of an elite level or team that we can actually see that we're building a team around a particular player. It certainly is important in our style of play that we have a floor general there. And our point guards do a pretty good job of that, with the assistance of ourselves calling plays from sidelines, our formations and so on. But you can never discount the fact of having a big in the house, as I call it, because this is the first game that we've had, for example, our 6'11" center, Levi Lapierre. This was his first full game that he played at, of all the games. And all of our players will attest to the fact that when he's on the floor, he's a presence to contend with. He changes the game a lot. So is it more important for a point guard or a big? I can't say yes and no, okay? You certainly have to have a floor general on the floor.
Yeah. All right, so we're running out of time here. So basically, I just want to thank you again and for all your answers.
No problem. My pleasure.
Nice having you here.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
So basically, if you want to have any more news for check out other stories, newscasts, you can visit theclaw.ca. Canadore Newsnet is produced by students here at the Journalism and Television programs. So that's our show today. I'm Anthony Kellner. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.